on. Shout out to you. Shout out to every platform that we're on right now. I appreciate y'all joining. If this is your first time on my live and you don't know who I am or what I talk about on these live platforms, allow me to introduce myself. I go by Zabo103. I'm really the dude that get on these live platforms, and I shouldn't just continue to say giving out information for free because it just is what it is. But I give out a lot of information on things that realistically, it might be something that you're considering, might be something that you might be looking towards doing. I don't know. But I get on these live platforms and I really talk about a lot of things that I've experienced. I talk about a lot of things that I'm doing. And then I talk about ways on you can do these things for yourself. And I try to make it simple. I try to make it practical. Um, this is the 96th week straight that I've been going live doing these. If you've been on my live platform before, hopefully you found value in them. Um, I will say today is going to be a little bit different than normal. So, without dragging it out, I think we should just kind of get into it. Um, Typically on my lives, I talk about how you can live your dreams because that's what it's really about. Um, and when I say live your dreams, I really mean your dreams, not necessarily someone else's vision or someone else's dreams. Just because I might do something or somebody else might do something, like, oh, I want to do that. No, it's what you dreaming. I say that because with how everything has been going, what's up, family? How everything has been going lately, when I see certain things, I do my best to make the best possible decision at that time. I hope you understand what I mean when I say that. And if you don't understand what I mean when I say that, let me say it this way. A lot of times when you're looking at how you want your life to be, and I know how I used to do, I always would look at what other people's lives was, and I would try to mimic or mirror those things, right? We, as a people in general, doesn't matter your complexion, but as people in general, we typically look at other things that other people have and we want some form of that. We do it with vehicles, we do it with homes, we do it with spouses, we do it with kids, we do it with clothes, jewelry. We do it with we people typically follow a trend. And I think that that's the most that's the difficult part about life. We typically try to follow what someone else has created. And these create things like living above your means. These create things of, not just living above your means, but go along with that, putting yourself in debt. These come along with different stress that you give yourself. And the reality of it is, it should ultimately be what you want out of life, even though you know it's based in what other people want out of life. So when you hear me say things like, hey, think, hey, research, hey, take action, I'm starting with thinking for a reason. You really got to think about what it is you want, what it is you're trying to really do. I know, like, I was talking to this close friend to the family, and they are, they're extremely wealthy, and I'm gonna say that they are extremely wealthy. I was talking to this close friend to the family today, because we're at the final place where we want to close out the bill of this property or this estate down on this 41 and a half acres of land. And as I was having the conversation with him, while he wasn't trying to give me, any advice or any real, hey, you should do this or you shouldn't do that, he wasn't trying to do none of that. In the conversation that we were having, he made me think about some other things, and I don't even think he tried to do that. As most people know, we are in the process of getting finalized these, blueprints, site plan, the whole 9 yards. The architect is doing what they do, the designer is doing what they do. But we're talking about building a 20,000 square foot primary home down here on this 41 and a half acres of land and a 5,000 square foot guest home. And as I'm sharing, what's all going on in this process, just because it just happened to come up, because I was telling him, hey, we I talked to his nephew, and his nephew said we only need to do 2 wells versus doing three. And he was just sharing, like, his life experience. He said, his very first estate that they built, it was on 100 acres. I was like, that's a lot of land to have your estate on. It just really is, y'all. um and he was saying that, on his first 100 acres, his first estate that they had, the property that they built, it was, him, his wife, and he got 3 kids. And his youngest kid is my age, if that puts that in perspective. And he said, he the property that they built a 3,000 square foot property on this 100 acres. He said they did a pool, with nothing crazy. Um, they had a small, what we would call today a guest house, wasn't even 1,500 square foot. And I was like, okay, well, I get it. Your family is a lot smaller, whatever, whatever. He said, yeah, he said, when my kids got older, they had kids or whatever, whatever. So, grandpa, the whole 9 yards, they went and moved from the 100 acres property because they wanted something bigger. And the next estate that they built was on, he said, 800 acres. And the property was 4,000 square foot. And I asked him, I said, why not just build, how we think? At least this is how I'm thinking right now. It's just me. I asked him, why not why not build something massive and then build a compound around it? That's how my mind works. And he explained to me that you don't know where you want to be at forever. You don't know that you want to be in that. I didn't know that I want to be there forever. And thank goodness I didn't go and spend an absorbent amount of money, even though they still got the property, even though they still got all these different things. He was like, I didn't spend an exorbitant amount of money out the gate because I didn't know that I wanted to be there forever. And I'm not going to lie, y'all. When he said that to me, even though he wasn't trying to, it really had my mind just like, do I really need to spend $4 million on a massive estate on this 41 and a half acres of land that we got down here? Or do I just need to build something that's still massive, but not as massive as I'm thinking? It really got me to thinking, y'all. Which brought me to the title in these lives that we're doing right now. As much as I talk about thinking, researching, and taking action, I started to think about how much of all of these things that we want as a people in life is based off of someone else's reality. Is it really the same things that you actually want, or is it something that someone else already has? And I got to thinking about that hard because I don't really know nobody that's doing these things. And then a light bulb went off for me. And I think about when I was over in Dubai back in 2012. And I can remember these wealthy cats over there going to their estate and seeing these massive properties. And I got to thinking, what really makes sense? Does it make sense to build a 20,000 square foot property? Or could I get away with it being 10,000 square foot, 3,000 square foot bigger than where I'm at today? Could I get away with that? Still have all the things around it that I want around it, as far as in vacation resort style, all these different things. Because what's the real reality? The average square foot home in America is 2,500 square foot. What's up, family? I throw this out there today, and I don't mean to be a downer for anyone today, but I throw this stuff out there. It's interesting. I don't know about that. Talking too much money for you? I get it. I understand. But I throw this stuff out there because I want people to understand as I'm explaining these different ways that you can do things that you want to do in your life for yourself. You truly got to think about what you want out of your life. You truly got to think about if you're talking about building generational wealth, it may look different than what I'm saying, y'all. It just might. The process, being disciplined, is the same. Don't get it twisted. But the end results on what you want your life to look like is based on you. We in a world today where people idolize everybody. And I think that's where we're falling short. Because the reality of it is there's always going to be somebody that has more than you. It just is what it is. There's always going to be someone that has more than you. And that's okay. I go back to thinking about people that idolize some of the ball players, the entertainers, whoever they are, right? What's up, family? And I think about you already got the same thing they got. Do you have food every day? Do you have water? Do you have clothes on your back? Do you have shelter? Do you have a vehicle that you ride around in today? Are you able every now and then to take out a little me time for yourself, whether it's you going on a vacation or you are having a night out of town with you and your significant other? Are you able to do things for your kid? You have the exact same thing that everybody else have. How much of it you have may be different. How much it may cost may be a little bit different. How big it is may be a little different. But you have everything you need right now today. But people get stressed out because they're not able to present the imagery so other people can idolize them. That's the part that I'm really like I'm really trying to make sure that I stay away from wanting something that someone else has. That's really the goal. And it's difficult, y'all. It is. No matter if I'm saying I want land, I want land. Why I want land? I don't want land because nobody else got it. I want land because I know you make money when you buy land, not when you sell it. I know the value of it. To get it, I want that big old life insurance policy. Why? Because I know the value of having it. I have no choice but to conduct business because I understand that I can never in my life again put myself in a situation where I'm fighting for pennies for a performance review. I just can't, I can't wrap my brain around that again. What does that mean? It means for you, whatever it is you want out of life, make it whatever it is you want out of life. Not what you think you should have based off of somebody else. Not because you're not where you believe you should be at in this portion of your life. It's not logical way of thinking, y'all. As I'm listening to this close friend to the family sharing things about, things he did, and we just going down the list because we're talking about me building this property, and he just sharing his experience on what he's done over his lifetime. I'm talking about, basically 50, well, he's 72, I think. 50 years, well, almost 50. He said when he was 18 when he started, 19. So 53 years, 53 years of experience that he's given to me based off of him just sharing things. This stuff is wild. Oh, I know, family. Um, I don't really have a way of looking at that for you, family. If you're in Philadelphia or Pennsylvania, I think, yeah, that's the Pennsylvania. You should probably ride out there and go check it out. But that's not something that I do, family. I don't really go look at plots of land for folks. But I know this is a different live than normal, but I really need people to think. And I don't need you to think. You really need to think for yourselves. Because if you don't think for yourself, I can assure you, boys and girls, you're just going to drive yourself nuts. Is that my movie theater? Yeah, I'm at home. Yeah, I'm at home. I'm at the crib. So what does all this means to you today? Well, I don't know. I can tell you what it means for me today. What it means for me today is I'm reevaluating some stuff. Yeah, I'm at home, family. I'm reevaluating some things. That's what I'm doing. I got to telling my wife all type of stuff after that conversation. And she was like, well, I hear you, and I know that you don't want to build this big old mess of property based off of what you're saying, but my closet got to be the same. My closet space still got to be the same. Like that's what you got out of the conversation. Long as your closet space the same. She's like, yeah, my closet ain't gonna be as big as it's gonna be. We can stay where we at. You can't even make this stuff up. So look, y'all, let me get out of this slumber moment. I had to share that because I think sometimes when I get on these live platforms and I'm sharing different things on how you can do what you're doing, a lot of people, I hear it all the time when I see y'all type this stuff out, right? What can I can't afford no $10 million whole life insurance policy. I can't afford to go pay $150,000 cash for no vehicle without a bank. I can't afford to build no house cash without a bank. I hear people say these things, and what I'm the message that I send that I hope is being conveyed when I'm talking about these life insurance policy, get the biggest one you can afford. Notice I ain't said I can afford. I said that you can afford. You get it? Because it's gonna build those funds so you have access to do these different things. As I was talking to this close friend to the family, we were talking about things like impact fees. Yeah, listen, you get as much as you can afford. You just listen, when you're taking your check, your money you bring it home after taxes, it's just going three places: basic living expenses, the biggest whole life insurance policy you can afford, and land. What does that mean? The more you have coming home after taxes, the money that you bringing inside your house, that's what's going to dictate how much land you get, how much your insurance policy going to be. That's going to dictate how much you're spending for basic living expenses. Any amount of land that you buy is a lot of land, y'all. Let me give you an example. 1 acre land is over 1 acre of land is over 43,000 square foot. Let me say that again. 1 acre land is over 43,000 square foot. The average home in America is 2,500 square foot. I know a lot of times when you start talking about square footage and different things like that, I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of people be lost when you say that. That's why I try to put these things in somewhat of a perspective of you. 1 acre is a lot of land, y'all. So even if you did a half an acre, you still over 21,000 square foot. The average home in America is 2,500 square foot. So even a half an acre of land is still after you put that 2,500 square foot on that half an acre, you still got over 18,000 square foot of land that you haven't used. It's small in Florida, it's small in other states. Sure. Most homes, if you go look at people's homes for the most part, they homes only sitting on I seen homes that sit on 0.14 acres. 0.14 acres. I want y'all to understand that for a second. Now, of course, I don't want nobody to be extreme. Man, I can take a home and I can take, like to your point, 10 homes on an acre. You gotta have, you got it. If it's attached to the city, you still ain't getting 10 homes on there. You still gotta have, your drainage, your sewer, and all the other stuff in there. Maybe a septic tank if you're doing a septic tank. That stuff take up space too. but the point that I'm making is any amount of land that you get is a lot of land, y'all. I really hope most people get an opportunity. Let me put this charge on here. I hope most people get an opportunity to understand that. But the bigger point is keep up with yourself. Stop trying to keep up with everybody else. Appreciate your family. Stop trying to keep up with everybody else. I promise you, you're going to lose because you don't really know what that person is doing. You definitely ain't gonna be able to count that person's pockets. You might try to assume, but you can't really count nobody's pockets. It's impossible. On the other end, you don't know what type of stress and sacrifice those people that you're idolizing are going through to get this to happen. You just have no clue. That's why a lot of times when I talk about these different things like building on the 41 and a half acres land, I know most people don't like you to throw numbers out, but I throw a roundabout number out so you understand that you gotta operate in your own lane. You just have to. So you might hear me say, man, we about to spend $4 million on this property. Cash. No banks. Think. You got you gotta think. You gotta put this stuff in perspective. You gotta start where you're at. Shout out to that. Congratulations. You said, sorry for your loss, but congratulations. That your uncle willed you 298 acres. Is that directly to you? Or is that split up between a whole bunch of different people? I have to ask that question because a lot of times people, not that it matter, because that's a blessing. That's an absolute blessing. But I ask that question because I know a lot of times people, family, will them and they split up the land. Only you. That's amazing, family. That's amazing. That means that, he entrusted in you to make the right decisions with it. That's amazing. For sure. Blessings. For sure. But I want people to really sit down with themselves and just think about what you want. Just think about what it is that you truly want. And I'm telling you, today been one of those days, y'all. I've been sitting back thinking hard after that conversation. You know how hard I was thinking today? I was saying to myself, I'm going to conduct business until I leave this planet. That's a given, right? You have to. I ain't working. I just refuse to do it, y'all. I just refuse to do it. But what I will say is my youngest boy, which is my youngest, is 6 years old. This estate that we're building out is going to wind up taking about 24 months to complete. By the time that this estate is complete, my youngest boy, he's 6 now. Notice I said 24 months. Don't mind my math. My youngest boy will be 9 years old. So really about 3 years from now of this property being complete, ready for us to move in and go. My next to youngest boy will wind up being 16 years old. My next to youngest boy after that, he will be close to 18 years old. My next to youngest boy after that, which is my oldest boy, he will be 20. My next to oldest daughter, who's older than the boys, she'll be 22. And my oldest baby, who already married and got her own crib and they doing what they do, she'll be 28 years old. Now, I want my kids to be on my property forever. Forever. What does that mean? It means that I probably should not build a 20,000 square foot primary home and a 5,000 square foot guest home. Why? Because the vision is if I'm building a compound, when they get in their age of 18, 19, 20, 21, and they want to go out and rent something, the only thing I'm going to do is build a quadruplex on my land. So by the time this property is complete, I'll just be building another quadruplex anyway. And the only people that'll be in this primary home that's 20,000 square foot at that point is me, my wife, and looks like my baby boy. So I'm trying to make this make sense, y'all. I'm really trying to make this make sense. That's really what I'm trying to do right now in my head. Y'all got to excuse me. I've been drinking milk ever since that conversation. I've been drinking milk ever since that conversation, y'all. What's up, family? And the reason why I've been drinking milk ever since that conversation, because my mind is just like, ugh. Maybe the total of 25,000 square foot of a property is the right number, but it needs to be split up into different properties. Maybe that's the maybe that's the mindset I need to go with. Maybe I need to build a 10,000 square foot home primary and a 25,000 square foot guest home, 2,500 square foot guest home, and then the remaining 14,500 square foot I build over the properties around that primary home. Can you buy an acre from me? No. No. But there's a lot of land out here for sale. You can go buy an acre. It's not that expensive, family. As of today, we own 241 and a half acres of land. We have roughly about 18 more days to go close on another 26 acres of land. Why? Because land is valuable. I would never sell you my land. Ever. However, go reach out to a broker if you're serious or agent that specializes in land. Tell them to find you a piece of land 30 minutes outside of the major city where you live. You can get it no matter which state, no matter which state you live in for $5,000 or less. I know, Missy. That's my wife said the same thing. How can you speed up a closing? I don't know. Other than if you find a closing attorney that can close this faster. How do you get them in one spot? Easy. What you got to remember is the more land you buy in one spot, the cheaper it is per acre. You get it? So you can go on Land Watch. You can go on Zillow, the MLS, whatever, right? And you can realistically just put in minimum acreage 12. You get it? And then once you do that, all type of stuff pop up. In every state across America, family, $5,000 or less, guaranteed. And I've been going live for the last 96 weeks straight showing people you can actually find that in every state across America. Don't matter where you're at. Swampland, I'm not near swamps. Yeah, it's been 96 weeks. That's the part that's crazy when people jump on and say, he trying to sell me something? No, I ain't sold you nothing yet. Don't mean I won't ever sell you nothing. But right now, for the last 96 weeks, I haven't sold you anything. Um, well, you have to go vet the stuff out, of course. But if it's just a sidewalk, that would mean it's sitting on land, right? Maybe I'm missing what you're trying to say, family. I would just say go reach out to a broker or agent if you're serious. It's free. They'll search it and find you land for free because the buyer doesn't pay for the broker or the agent to go find the land. The seller do. Yeah, I don't think I want to invite you on so we can talk. I'm on 6 different platforms, family. And it sounds like you got a bunch of questions, and this is not personalized to you. Not even close. The best thing for you to do at this point is probably sit on your thumbs and just listen. Because it sounds like there's a lot of stuff that you're missing. Again, I've been going live for the last 96 weeks. It's about 700 people between all these lives that I'm on. There's a lot of people that's been here for a while. They know exactly what I'm talking about. And it sounds like you haven't even made any initial steps because you don't even understand the process yet. So you might just have to sit tight for a minute, family. We have a part at 100,000 weeks. 100 weeks? Yeah, for sure. Um, it sounds like you're trying to buy land in the city. If you're saying $20,000 for 2,500 square foot, it sounds like you're trying to buy something in the city, and that's probably where you're going wrong. Um, well, let's ask the question because you might be right. Let's see if anybody else has the same question. Put a one in the chat. Put a one in the chat if you went on a site to buy land and then you went and looked at it and it was just a sidewalk. Put a one in the chat if you ever seen that before. I'm just curious. Anybody? No? No? Yeah, I don't know about that one, family. So let me say this because again, there are probably a lot of new people on here and a lot of people don't quite understand. And I just kind of picked up where we left off the last time I was on live. Land is the only thing on this planet. Land is the only thing on this planet that I've seen that only goes up in value and don't go up and down. Plus, you make money when you buy land, not when you sell it. Everything you can think of goes back to the land. Land is the originator of everything you can think of. Period. I can't make that up. It's just the truth. What does that mean? A lot of people have these preconceived notions about land. It's too expensive, right? So they can't afford it. I can't afford the taxes, right? Somebody gonna come and take my land, the government, right? It's not where I want to live, right? Because don't nobody want to live out there. People have, and I'm just naming a few. These are things that people think when it comes to land. So what am I saying? Let's bring reality to this stuff. Put a 2 in the chat if you ever been outside of the country. Put a 2 in the chat. Appreciate the family. Put a 2 in the chat if you ever been outside of the country. I want to make sure we on the same page. We got a bunch of people over here that's been out the country. Anybody on Instagram been out the country? What about Facebook? Okay, we got some people on Instagram been out the country. Facebook, Riff, YouTube, Rumble, wherever you at. Okay, all right, we good. We got people that's been out the country before. When you go out of the country, sometimes, most of the time, you're going somewhere tropical. For the most part, right? You're going to these islands. You're going to all these places where realistically, it's the only thing that's really there. For the most part, especially if you're going to an island. Imagine if you're going to an island like Hawaii, like Turks and Cakes, like, I don't know, wherever you're going. When you get out there, for the most part, on these islands, it's not luxury all over the place. It's luxury at the resort. I hope y'all just heard what I just said. It's not luxury everywhere on these islands. It's luxury at the resort. Now you done flew 2 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, sometimes 10 hours to get to these resorts. Ain't nothing out there. Nothing. But when you get out there to these resorts, you don't ever want to leave. You never want to leave. Think about what I just said. You're on this beautiful vacation for a weekend, for a week, 2 weeks, however long you out there, and you don't want to leave. Why? Because everything you need is on that island, in that resort. What happens when you tell somebody, I'm not living in a major city? I'm going to move 30 to 45 minutes out from a major city. Don't nobody want to live all the way out there in the country. They don't. Why? Because ain't nothing out there. Right? If you look at most homeowners right now, people that own a home that sit on at least an acre of land, they stay literally about 30 minutes outside of the major city. The same place where they're saying they don't want to live all the way out there. Most cases, you already live already out there. Take it a step further. Imagine for a second, on these beautiful resorts that you go to, they not even 10 acres, y'all. These resorts not even 10 acres. Keep in mind what I'm saying. These resorts ain't even 10 acres of land. So you telling me if I'm 30 to 45 minutes out from a major city and I go to find me 10 acres of land, $3,500 an acre, come on, y'all. If I go out and spend 100,000, 35,000, whatever, to get these 10 acres and everything that I done seen on all these resorts, I bring it right here on this 10 acres that just happen to be 30 to 45 minutes outside of the city. Now you on vacation when you at home. Now you don't have these issues about, man, I need a getaway. You always got away. So if you do have to travel to go to work for whatever reason, when you at work, you're working. Man, I can't wait till I get at home, man, and relax. Man, this weekend that I'm not here, man, I'm gonna enjoy this. Don't start your own business and get the nerve to hire some folks when you ain't got to work at all because you got people doing the work for you and you have a 7-day week in every week. You still don't want to live all the way out there? You do it on vacation, don't you? Now you're going to put yourself in a position to where you never want to leave home because everything you need and everything you want is on your property. That's the difference. It takes steps, obviously, for you to get there if that's what you want out of life. Remember that. But it's what you want. So if this is the lifestyle that you claim you want, you're gonna have to do things to get there. It better be legal. This stuff can be expensive, don't get me wrong. We'll never sell you that dream that is not. But when it comes to just buying the land, people, it's way cheaper than what you could imagine. I tell people all the time, them 41 and a half acres of land, we bought like $3,800 an acre for 41 and a half acres of land. Black Wall Street was 40 acres, boys and girls. I'm going to say that one more time. Black Wall Street was 40 acres. Me and my wife paid cash for 41 and a half acres of land. Just me and her. I want y'all to understand what I'm saying. None of this stuff is far-fetched. None of this stuff is unreal. And for those naysayers like, y'all didn't do that, we went live on TikTok at the closing when we purchased the 41 and a half acres of land. And I showed you live the paperwork. Why? Because I know people on social media just be talking. But it has to be about what you want, not what you think everybody else gonna like. Who cares? That's the reason why I'm having this conversation today. I don't like people like that. I don't like a whole bunch of people around me. I don't care about all that. I just want to be left alone. So what does that mean? Um, I'm not sure that it's bad in the city. I'm not sure. It depends on what you're doing with it. Depends what you're doing with it. You could. But these are things you got to think about, y'all. You got to stop thinking about what everybody else got because that stuff don't matter. I promise you it don't matter. It don't matter, y'all. I promise you it don't. At the end of the day, you gotta really process what it is you want out of life. That's what you gotta process. And what I'm understanding as a person that's been, at this point, a little bit over 4.5 years that I've had wealth in my family, I understand more than I ever understood. Don't none of this stuff matter, y'all. When I got off the phone with this close friend to the family today, I promise you, congratulations, family. I promise you, I almost said to myself, man, forget building this big old this whole estate down. Forget all of it right now. My 7,000 square foot home got everything in it. My wife want a bigger closet. I'm gonna bring somebody in. They're gonna redesign the whole bathroom, redesign everything up in there, make the closet the size that she want to, make the bathroom what it's gonna be, let that be what it's gonna be. Take the sitting area room and vamp that into some stuff down there. Take one of these, take one of these offices down here and just do some old random stuff. At the end of the day, I almost said forget it. I appreciate your family. I hope you're having a good one as well. I almost said forget it. But then I thought about it. I said, man, I want that resort backyard. I want that resort backyard, y'all. Not because I'm like swimming and doing all the other stuff. Not because of that reason. I don't care nothing about none of that. I just want to be away from everything. I just do. Maybe I invested into some other businesses, buy some more land somewhere else, and just keep it pushing. Maybe. It might be logical. It may be logical to take that 4 million and go and find realistically, I don't know. Uh I can go out to freaking Mississippi with $4 million and go crazy. I can go to Oklahoma with $4 million and go crazy. I can go to Alabama and go crazy. I can go to any part of middle America and easily with $4 million go and easily get me 50,000 acres of land or more. Think about what I just said. You already know. A lot of people doing that now. Let me go on and pay for my rental for the bunker in advance. That'll be $1 million. Think, y'all. This stuff is bigger than me. It's bigger than you. But it just boils back down to what it is you want out of life. The rest of the stuff don't even matter, y'all. It ain't even important. It ain't even important, y'all. That's the part that's crazy. So as you're thinking about all these things that I'm talking about tonight, and you think about all the things we've talked about over the last 96 weeks straight, spend some time with yourself getting to know you, getting to know what it is you really want. I can tell you right now, boys and girls, we still building this estate on this 41 and a half acres of land. It might not be as massive as I was thinking, just simply because we building a compound, y'all. That's the truth. We're building a compound. That was the whole point of it. So out the gate, I might not have to spend $4 million out the gate. That number realistically, if I'm just gonna be honest, probably gonna be about 1.5 out the gate. That's probably what it's gonna look like. And then I'm gonna turn around maybe 5, 6 years from now, and then spend another million building out some quadruplexes. And then maybe another few years from now, maybe building some other stuff out there. Think, y'all. That's what this stuff is truly, truly, truly about. Nothing more, nothing less. Anything outside of it don't even make sense. A part of me is like, I was telling my wife, I'm like, man, we were looking at clearing out almost 10 acres. That's a lot of maintenance and upkeep. Even though the business, they paying for that because I ain't got no bills. Do I need to clear out 10 acres for this? What's wrong with clearing out 5? Think, y'all. Think, research, take action. It's the secret to everything that you're trying to do. Once you realize that it is the secret to everything that you're trying to do, it's game over. That's the truth. Anything outside of that, it don't even make logical sense anymore, y'all. It doesn't. We talk about that 10-year plan every time I get on here. This not gonna be any different because I know people like, how did I do this? Because I'm new here, I don't know what you're talking about. So we always talk about the 10-year plan. We didn't talk about how you do this if you make 100 grand a year. We didn't talk about how you do it if you make 60,000 a year. We didn't talk about how you do it if you make $30,000 a year. We didn't talk about it if you make 18,000 a year, from 8,000 a year, from Section 8, from being in debt, from making $0 a year. And if you're a person that's thinking, how the heck I'm gonna do this for making $0 a year? Get to work. Why are you making $0 a year? 18 if you're living with your mom. We talked about that too. There's really no excuses, y'all. At the end of the day, if you want it, you'll go get it. If you don't, you won't. That's really the truth. So you really have to really sit with yourself and see what it is you really want. What does that mean? Are you really trying to build generational wealth? Or you just really just saying it because it sounds good when you in a conversation with people? Think about that. Or do you just want enough so that you ain't got to work? So that you can lead the planet and everybody that's left behind, they can figure it out the way they need to figure it out. What is it that you really want out of life? What is it that you want? I made a very conscious decision after being at Bank of America for 20 years as an executive without a college degree that I would never fight for nobody else's last name other than my own. Just ain't doing it. I made a very conscious decision that Bank of America is the last job I will ever have in my life. A very conscious decision on that. That was just my mentality. I also made a conscious decision that I couldn't leave Bank of America because I was making a couple 100 grand a year. I couldn't leave there unless I made my yearly salary in a month. That was my thought. As I was having these thoughts, a thought popped up in my mind before I hit that number. I said to myself, if I hit that number, would I really leave? Because that's going to tell the tale on how disciplined I'm going to have to be. And when I hit my yearly salary in a month, I didn't hesitate. I left. It was a scary thought. I can tell you flat out, making 200 grand a year ain't the same as getting 200 grand a week. Notice I ain't saying a month. I can tell you it ain't nowhere near the same. What's even scarier about this is it's way less work to make 200 grand in a week than it is in a year. That's the part that's really, really wild to me. But people don't understand that when they hear me talk about it, they think, man, you must be working hard. I tell the same story every single time I get on here. When I was at Bank of America, I was working 2,400 hours a year. Last year, I worked 57 hours for the full physical year of 2023. This year, so far, I'm off to a great start. I've worked 0 hours this year. Think. The people who work the most make the least. The people who work the least make the most. I know that sounds crazy and it's backwards, but the truth is the truth. And the truth can never be considered disrespect. You got to really start thinking, y'all. You said it takes money to make money. I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say, money is nobody's issue. It's information. Believe it or not, and I've talked about this a whole bunch of times on this live, and people always say the same things. And I'm going to say it here again. First thing first, money's not real. Not even close. What you were supposed to be using the money for, which which is on your money, people don't even use their money for it. People use their money to do what? Conduct business and take care of their personal businesses. Personal life, I should say. Conduct business, take care of their personal business. If they ain't got no business, they only use money to take care of their personal life. This is the part where people they get lost, especially when they're on my live, because it's tough to explain so without explaining it. So let me explain. Poor people believe the primary use of money is to pay bills. Wealthy people understand the only purpose of money is to make money. That's it. That's the only purpose that money has. It's only to make money. And that thing called money is only supposed to be used for public use and private use. Notice I ain't say personal. It's only supposed to be used for public use and private use. I hope y'all understand what I just said. The scary part about this is it's on your money. You've been seeing this public use of money and private use of money your whole life, that you've looked at money and you've never paid attention to it. That's the part where this stuff becomes really wild, and people that ain't never heard this before, people that are super educated, and let me say this before I go any further, don't let your education stop your education. It's a big world out here and you just don't know. And that's okay. Again, I worked at Bank of America for 20 years as an executive without a college degree. There were a ton of things that I thought I knew. I didn't learn this stuff until I was long gone from the bank, because the bank don't teach you this. Your school ain't teaching you this stuff. Not even close. Imagine for a second, you got a little bit of money, like you got a bag. That's what they say, right? And since you got a bag, you've been educated to go and seek a financial advisor. This financial advisor is educated on everything finances. And you go sit with this financial advisor once a month, once every 2 weeks, maybe once, however often you go sit with them. You go sit with this financial advisor and you take the financial advisor advice. And no disrespect to the financial advisor, y'all are amazing. But I gotta admit, it's just me, as a dude that ain't college educated, barely got a high school diploma. I do have a question because I'm pretty slow. Because I know I'm not the sharpest marble in the bag. And what I'm about to say, I'm not going to be able to unring that bell. But I got a question for y'all, y'all smart folks, financial advisors. We coming to you. Just a question. Mr., Mrs. Financial Advisor, ask them, are you financially free? Is your financial advisor financially free? It's just a question. Now, I don't know if it's a good question because I'm ignorant. I'm slow. But help me make this make sense to me. Hmm. Okay. You don't have a financial advisor. You got a wealth manager. Your wealth manager work at the bank. Every time you go in there, he in $1,000 suit. She in a $2,000 suit. Your wealth manager, you go in and see them every week. They giving you strategies, the whole nine yards. They some good strategies. But I got a question for your wealth manager. Have your wealth manager built wealth for themselves? I'm listening. No, nothing. Crickets. I'm financially free. I'm not a financial advisor. I built wealth for my last name. Then had wealth for my family for the last 4.5 years. It's not a long time. But I'm the ignorant person on the block. It's a big world out here, y'all. And I can tell you what the answer is. Your wealth manager, I know they haven't built wealth for themselves because they're breaking the very first rule of building wealth. They're trading time for money. Wealthy people don't trade time for money, they trade money for time. Uh oh. I know what it is. It's political season. You want me to vote for your person, and your person is left or right. It's gonna make a difference in my life if I vote for your person. I get it. Let me tell you a secret. The laws are written for wealthy people. It don't matter who in office. The laws are written for wealthy people. That's called the win-win. I don't need to figure out who to vote for. I got to figure out as soon as possible how to become wealthy. Because the people that you put in there, they wealthy. Or did you miss that part of it? People have a tendency to go all the way around the world to get what they want when they just need to go and get what they want instead of doing all these other things. Go get this product, and this product gonna help you do this. You're gonna be able to make money if you buy this product. This product right here is gonna help you make all this money. Well, you're going to make this money to do what? You didn't invest in cryptocurrency because it's the way. You in the stock market because it's the way. Okay. It's the way, right? Why are you going out to go get money? I can tell you. It's simple. It's only four things. You're only going to get money for four things, boys and girls: food, water, shelter, clothes on your back. Why are you getting it for those four things? Because you can't walk outside without no clothes on. You better be taking some water. You ain't got no choice. You're going to need food. It just is what it is. And as of today, boys and girls, you better have shelter. It's against the law in this country to be homeless. They locking you up and giving you a fine, no matter if you're on public or private property. Uh-oh. This stuff gets spooky. The same things your ancestors needed, them four things, you got to have it. So whatever product you decide to put your money in to go get money and telling people it's the way, you're still coming back to those four things, boys and girls. All of these things come from the land. Everything goes back to the land, including you. This is why when I get on these live platforms, a lot of people that don't be on my live, they'll disagree with me, and that's cool. I don't care. Because I ain't trying to convince you. We need consumers. My family thanks you. Shout out to that family. This is why this stuff get wild, y'all. It gets super wild because we think we know. And I promise you, you ain't got a clue. Nah, definitely not family. This stuff is wild. So, what am I saying? I'm saying, as you're thinking about what it is you want to do in life, go research how to make these things happen. And once you research this stuff and find what you need to find, go take action. But be real with yourself about what you want. I thought I wanted to Escalade until I got an Escalade. I thought I wanted a Range Rover until I got a Range Rover. I thought I wanted to be in a house over 5,000 square foot until I got in a house over 5,000 square foot. I think I want a lot of things until I get it, the same way you do. The vehicle that you in right now today, you wanted it before you got it. And after 2 weeks of you being in it, you were over it. That's where we at with these things, right? So you got to make sure you want what you want, but what you want. Because people are doing things for other people. And that sucks. Because we all guilty of it. Nobody's exempt. Over time, as you mature in life, you get over what other people want and you just want what you want, right? But unfortunately, it takes time. And I ain't gonna say unfortunately, I'm gonna say fortunately it takes time because the reality of it is you should take that time. But the sooner you can come into the realization of only one what you want, guess what? Your life get a whole lot simpler. It's like how I tell the story. Like I used to think, man, if somebody had monthly bills where they were spending $3,000 a month, man, I was like, man, they rich. You know, I'm a teenager. Like you spending 3 grand a month for bills, y'all rich. I couldn't wrap my brain around spending no 3 grand a month. Think about that. It was wild to me. When I started spending $16,000 a month for bills, I was angry. But I understood that, hey, at least I got it to do it, right? I would say, I wish I still could spend 3 grand a month. This was wild. When I finally started spending 40 grand a month on bills, I was wishing I can get back down to $16,000 a month. I sure hope we can get down to this six. Well, I got it to do it, but I don't want to. I wish I could imagine spending 3 grand a month today. Right? That used to be my thought process, y'all. To now in the year is 2024 and not having no bills because I changed what was supposed to be this thing called money is supposed to be used for to going from $40,000 a month in bills that I got to come up with to spend on bills to having zero bills a month. Stuff was wild, y'all. It was wild. And that's where your mind really got to shift. I was on the topic about money not being real. I was on the topic about money is only supposed to be used for public use and private use. If you got money in front of you right now, pull it out, look at it. It's on your money. Pull out your cash. It's on your money. And I didn't show this 100 million times. I don't really know another way to do it, but it's on your money, y'all. Your money is supposed to be used, and it's not your money. You're only holding it for somebody else. The money that's in your hand, you're holding it for somebody else. The money that's in your bank is in your bank for somebody else. It's never your money. The money always goes back to the original sender. And when you have it in your possession, it is supposed to be used for public use and private use. That's the truth. People decide to use it for personal use, and that's where they get stuck. That's where people get stuck. So if you got money in front of you, pull out your reading glasses, look on the front of your money. It's in small print. It tells you that the money, what it is, and it tells you it's supposed to be used for public and private use. It's on your money. Put a one in the chat if you have some money in your hand, and you can confirm it for the other people that's on live if they don't have money in their hand, I guess. Just so people don't think I'm making this stuff up. If you got money in your hand, put a one in the chat so people can see that you got money in your hand. And once you do that, I want you to look at the front of your money, put on your reading glasses. What is it going to say is simply, this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. It's on your money. I can't make that up if I wanted to. There's a lot of people on TikTok that see this. So I can't make that up. I ain't got whatever currency you got. It don't matter if you got $1 bill, a $2 bill, a $5 bill, a $10 bill, a $20 bill, a $50 bill, a $100 bill. It does not matter. It's on the front of your money. Think about that for a second. It's been there the whole time. They didn't just add it over the last 24 hours. It's been there. Why is it on your money? It's on your money because they're directing you on how to use it. You get it? United States of America is a business. Businesses are public. I'm going to say that again. On the back of your money at the top, the United States of America is a business. Business is public, y'all. I hope y'all caught that. I don't really want to say it more than one more time. So I'm going to say it one more time. On the back of your money at the top, the United States of America is a business. And it's a business. The business is public. Right below the United States of America, it says, "In God we trust." I was told that's the name of the United States of America's trust. A trust is private, boys and girls. We just take the money. I'm going to Starbucks. I'm going to Chick-fil-A. We going everywhere and using money for everything except for public and private use. That's what they say you're supposed to be using it for. If it's public, it goes in your business. If it's private, it goes in your trust. When those two things click for me, it was game over. It was game over. You couldn't tell me nothing. Well, you still can tell me something. I'm still trying to learn. But you couldn't tell me that. Nah, you can tell me that. because it didn't make nothing else made logical sense to me. It just didn't, because I couldn't unsee what I just saw. Just like I predict by y'all seeing this stuff, I predict that you're not going to be able to unsee what you just saw. That's what's wild about this stuff. What does that mean? When I get this money, whether it's in my hand or in the form of a debit card with some digital things attached to it, I only supposed to be using this for public use or private use. Let me put it in layman's term for you. I only supposed to be using this for business or for my trust or one of my trusts. Never personal. You get it? Now I know what people thinking. You still got to use money for something personal. And I always ask this question. We asked it last time. I'm gonna ask it again because I know we got new people on here, and I don't want to keep going through this exercise. So I'm just gonna go through it because I know I have to, because people ain't really converted their brain to think this way. What do you use money personally for? Put it in the chat. And we go through this all the time. So if you've been here a while, you already know what we're gonna talk about next. But just for the new people to catch them up a little bit. If you use money today, personally, what do you personally use it for? Put it in the chat. I want to see. Food always come up first. Ooh, I gotta charge that phone. Bills, okay. Shelter, hold on, y'all. Electricity, okay. Cars, clothes, vacation, yada 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 yada. People say the same thing all the time, y'all. Entertainment, medical, gas, food, write-offs for cattle feed. Shout out to that, Popeye. We gonna talk about it. What if I told y'all, for all the people that are new here, for the kids, shout out to that. What if I told y'all, and I'm gonna say this boldly, and y'all keep me honest with this list that y'all talk about, right? If I said boldly, it's on your money and it's telling you to only use your money for public and private use, and everything that y'all have named is either public or private. What if I told y'all everything y'all done named is either public or private, but it's probably not even in the place that you think it is? But those things y'all name is either public or private use. What money should be used for? Meanwhile, personally, you ain't got no money because you don't need money personally for nothing. Don't believe me? Watch this. Let's start off with some things that you might be able to relate to. In fact, let's go through everything that you might be able to relate to. This is where your mind needs to start shifting. The very first thing that somebody said was food. I use money personally for food. Watch this. Here's a thought. I could be wrong, but y'all keep me honest. Watch this. When I was at Bank of America as an executive without a college degree, there for 20 years, we had something called an employee survey. A lot of big companies do surveys, right? You know, they want to be the best place to work for working women, moms, all type of things. A yearly survey that we did. And the one thing that the bank was, we know every year what's going to be ranked not really well on that survey is the pay. You never can pay a person enough money. And I understand why, right? But the one thing that we had to make sure at my level, we had to make sure I was responsible for 459 people directly and indirectly. We had to make sure the morale was good. Long as the morale was good for the most part, your survey would turn out pretty good. So one of the things that we used to do at the bank, and I'm sure your job do it too when the morale get down a little bit, right? So if the morale get down a little bit at your job, I'm sure it's the same how it was at Bank of America. You know what they do for y'all? Buy y'all pizza, put some wings on it, get y'all a couple of Pepsis, and then they expense it. Uh-oh. I got 98 employees that work for me right now. 8 of those employees is me, my wife, and all 6 of our kids. We can't afford to have the morale go down. So what do? We buy them food every single day. So they ain't never got to worry about bringing no lunch to work. They can take food home to the kids they want to, anything that's left over. And then we expense it. Food is public, boys and girls. Uh-oh. This is going to get spooky. Okay, we didn't check food off the list. What we saw after that? A vehicle. Now, this is too simple, y'all. In 2022, one of my businesses needed a business vehicle. So we went out and purchased a 2023 Cadillac Escalade. It had 2 miles on it. The business paid $140,000 for it cash. And we wrote the whole thing off, y'all. The IRS incentivized us to get a business vehicle, but it weighed over 6,000 pounds, boys and girls. And it was used 100% for business. Wrote the whole thing off. This year, my wife's business needed a vehicle. We went out and purchased a 2024 long body Range Rover cash. The post still up on all my social media platforms right now because I went live and did it. It weighed over 6,000 pounds. It's used 100% for business. Wrote the whole thing off. Would you believe this is a business vehicle? The business pay for the gas and we expense that too? The business pay for any maintenance we got to do on that vehicle and expense it too because it's a business vehicle? Uh-oh. This is getting wild. What was the next thing that came up? Vacations. Oh, now that sucks. Well, let's have a little bit of a reality check. When I was at Bank of America, they used to send us, oh, shit, I got that after this. When I was at Bank of America, they used to send us, well, send me all over this country. Everywhere. The craziest place they sent me to was South Dakota. Let me tell y'all some boys and girls, it ain't nothing in South Dakota. But they had these things called Schlitzers. They like fried steak chunks with the barbecue sauce and the ranch. Oh my goodness, this was wild to me, y'all. I couldn't believe it. This stuff was so good, I would eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now, when they sent me on this business trip, I was out there for like weeks, sometimes 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks. Would you believe that the bank paid for my flight? The bank paid for my car rental. The bank paid for my hotel stay and all the schlitzers I can eat. And when I got back to the bank, I gave my secretary my receipts that was over $75 so she could put it in a system called Concor to expense it. So I realized I no longer can go on vacation because I can't afford a vacation. So we don't go on vacation, we go on location. Business trip, boys and girls. This last month, me, my wife, and my kids, or I should say, me and my employees, took a business trip to Los Cabos. It just happened to fall around the 4th of July weekend. We don't care nothing about the 4th of July, but it happened to fall around that time. We went out there to look at a couple of penthouses that they had for sale on the resort, shopping it. We also went to look at some land out there too in Mexico. Would you believe that since the business sent us out on this business trip, the business trip paid for what? The flight, the chauffeur service, because we didn't rent no car, the food, the penthouse that we stayed in, 6,200 square foot. And also, since Zabo 103 is also one of our businesses, it also paid for what? All the content we got out there too. You know, the ATVs, the swimming with the dolphins, the jet skis, the camel rides, and all the pretty clothes and pretty shoes that we had on while we was out there. Uh-oh. We can talk about vacation. Shelter. You gotta have somewhere to live. Now they say the roof over your head is private, so it goes in a trust. The roof over somebody else's head that you control, but it's over somebody else's head, it's public, so it goes in a business. So the trust owns the home, right? If the trust owns the home, what does that mean? I ain't got no bills. The trust got bills. This just got spooky. That means that the light bill that's coming inside of the house, it don't belong to me. It belongs to the trust. Now the cell phone bill that I have, it ain't my phone. It's the business phone. The business pay for that. And if I didn't mention about that vehicle, it's on a public road. How does a mortgage work with that? It don't matter if you got a mortgage on your house or you own it outright, you can put it inside your trust. How should how do you structure this lifestyle? We're gonna talk about that. I got you in a second. How do you start a trust? Go to an attorney, an estate planning attorney that specializes in trust. Show them and tell them what you have going on. Tell them what you're trying to do in the future and let them create the perfect trust for you. Don't walk up in there and tell them, I need this type of trust because they're going to give you exactly what you asked for. And I can tell you flat out, you don't know what you need. Don't listen to these people on social media saying, go get your revocable trust. Go get your irrevocable trust. They don't know you. They don't know your situation. They can't make that assessment of your life. You get it? Do you pay taxes on stuff inside of your trust? In most cases, you pay the taxes before it gets inside of your trust. In most cases, you paying taxes before it gets inside of your trust. Now, if you got a property in your trust, right? Because it's private, and you got a property inside this trust, and it's private, you still gonna have property taxes, 100%. The trust is not necessarily gonna exempt you from taxes. In fact, in your trust, is it true your house can't be taken from you if you have it inside a trust? If you got a mortgage on your house, you don't own your house. You can still put it inside your trust, but if you foreclose on that property, the bank coming to get that money. What's up, family? The bank coming to get that property because it's still the bank property. It's not yours. It's not your trust. You just put it inside of your trust so your trust can do what your trust do. We're going to talk about that. Don't worry. What did I miss? Medical bills. Property taxes? Yeah, you'll still have property taxes for sure. If you don't pay your property taxes, they still can come and get that joker. 100%. Medical bills. I know that's a big one. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. This just me. I'm ignorant, and I don't mind just putting myself out there as being ignorant sometime. And again, this is a safe place. Everybody welcome. I'm just showing love, y'all. It is what it is. But I was pretty ignorant, y'all, when I was at the bank. You know, I was doing a bunch of different businesses when I was at the bank before I left. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I was saying the most craziest thing I could have ever thought of, y'all. People would say, "Man, I know you're making money here at the bank, but I also know you're making good bread outside of the bank. Why you ain't left the bank yet?" I was the person, the fool, walking around telling people, "Man, I can't leave the bank, man. The bank give me some great benefits. I can't lose my benefits from the bank." I was that fool walking around telling people I can't leave the bank because the bank give me some amazing benefits. Meanwhile, medical, dental, vision coming out my check every pay period. I'm already paying for it. I couldn't believe it. Did you know by you having medical insurance at your job get a tax, I'm not gonna say a tax break, a tax benefit for you having medical insurance at their job. You know that, right? Well, imagine if you had your own business and you got more than 3 employees and you got this group plan going on. Guess who's paying for the medical insurance? Your business. It just became public. Less money you got to send to Uncle Sam. Your business paying for it. Your medical is public. Imagine you going to the hospital that the public has access to. Public and private use, y'all. I'm going to take it a step further. When I was at Bank of America, because they were giving me these amazing benefits, Bank of America gave me a $50,000 life insurance policy that I ain't have to pay for. The bank was paying for a $50,000 life insurance policy for me that I ain't have to pay for. This is wild. When I left the bank, they ain't cancel that policy. I learned that the policy holder the policy holder controls the policy. So when I left the bank and they didn't cancel my policy, boys and girls, I called my broker for my policy, my wife policy, my kids policy, and said, "Man, I got to change the beneficiary on these policies. Can I make the beneficiary of these policies one of these different trusts?" He said, "Yeah, give me 2 minutes." I said, "What? How long is it going to take you?" 2 minutes. So then I asked him, "You don't need to talk to my wife or my kids that can give consent to do this?" "No, you the policy holder. You can change the beneficiary whenever you want, however you want. It's gonna take me 2 minutes. It'll take a couple months to show on your statement, but it'll be effective in 2 minutes." So only imagine when I started these businesses. Now we up to 11 different businesses. I'm an employee of these businesses. Can you imagine the top person, the executive at your own company, what type of life insurance policy you can put on your executive at your own company that your business paying for? It's public. What about them measly kids, man? These kids getting on me, man. I can't deal with these kids, man. You gotta use money on the kids personally, right? Now, I know in most states you got to be at least 14, 15, 16 years old to work, you know, unless you got the parents' consent. I found out, and I could be wrong. I found out that good old agricultural land, that good old farmland, if you own that type of land and you're conducting that type of business, as soon as your baby come out the womb, they can be an employee. What? So you telling me my 6-year-old right now can work for me for the family business? Yes. So wait, if I make my babies employees at the womb, you're telling me not only can I pay them through the business as an employee, they don't have to worry about no medical insurance. That's covered up on me and they free, right? But the business paying for that. The business is giving them money, giving them a paycheck because they're an employee. What if I go on child support? They're employee. What is your child support? $700 a month? My employee making $700 a month. It just became public. What are we talking about, y'all? Did I miss anything? Private, public? I mean, somebody help me. Tell me if I missed something. I could have missed something. Anybody? You only using money for public use or private use, never personally. People believe they have to use it personally, and just like you just saw on your money, it's telling you this very thing on your money. On your money. When me and my wife took 30 people to the Atlanta Falcons versus the Washington Commanders football game, and we sat in the suites, we were conducting business. We were conducting business. I ain't got no 40 grand. Family living it, family limited partnership. You were conducting business. Imagine Zabo 103 is also one of my business. Even though I ain't getting paid on none of these platforms, business expense, business expense, business expense, business expense. I can keep going. Business expense, we can keep going. Don't you write off the square footage of your office in your house? I conduct business in my movie theater, in the gym, in my offices, at the bar, in the game room with the pool table. Don't you think I'm writing off that square footage too? Social media didn't change the game. I'm listening. Anybody? Did I miss anything? I'm trying to figure out what else can you use. I saw something about the cattle feed. That's a business expense. That's a business expense. I think that was you, Papa, that said about the cattle feed. That's a business expense. Shout out to that family. I'm still waiting on what we're using for personal use. Figuring out the business to run. Okay. We're gonna talk about that. I got you. We're gonna talk about that. I think that is important. That's important. That is important. I can't front on that. Did we not go over shelter? I think we just went over shelter, didn't we? We talked about the private use of money, right? Private, roof over your head, it goes into trust. You get it? Let's talk about it this way, though. I want you to think about something for a second. A lot of people say when you got a business and you got money in a business, They know you got a business checking account, right? How many people know if you're spending money out of your business, it's coming from a business checking account or a business credit card, which is eventually coming out your business checking account? Some people got business savings accounts too, right? But we know it's a bank account, right? We know that, right? We're gonna talk about it, don't worry. We understand that. I hope everybody on the same page. Here's where people, for whatever reason, they never go out and do the research, but they automatically just assume. And here's what people assume stuff. If somebody tells you, hey, I have a trust, you automatically think they got all this money. Instantly. Your first mind is they got a bunch of freaking money. You get it? Well, you need a tax attorney, right? A CPA as well, right? And the reason why I'm saying it is they need to be good, but you gotta be as on point as they're on point, because there are a lot of things, even though that's their profession, they not gonna just suggest this because you're giving them more work when you do all these different things. They're gonna try to give you the basic and you just go about your business because they ain't trying to do all that work. So you gotta still be thinking about things, looking up the laws on the IRS.gov so you can understand what's out there. So throughout the year, you can kind of know what you need to do. You're not avoiding taxes. Whatever you owe in taxes, your business is going to pay. If you owe taxes personally, you want to pay taxes personally. That's a benefit, by the way. We're going to talk about that too. But I almost forgot where I was at. Let me go back down because the question came from over here and I want to make sure I capture it. The trust. There we go. So from a trust perspective, when you hear people have a trust, you think they got all this money. Y'all do understand when if you got money inside of a trust, it's just a checking account with the trust name on it. Y'all do know this stuff, right? I hope this stuff don't really freak you out. It ain't that complicated, y'all. If you got money in a trust, it's just a checking account with the trust name on it. It's really that simple. I don't know how to, I don't want to make it more complicated than that, but it's just that. Most people, right? Most people that have built some form of wealth, they ain't got no money in no check in their trust. They don't need it. You get it? They don't need no money in there. They know money ain't real. They know money is supposed to be used to make money. And when you use that money, it's supposed to be used for public and private use. You get it? That's just what it is. A lot of people don't understand in your trust, when you go on up to the upper room, meaning you leave this planet, if you have over $12.92 million cash in your trust when you leave this planet, it will be taxed at 40%. And I know there's talks right now lowering that $12.92 million down to $5 million. Think about that for a second. What about all these wealthy people that were out there, these rich folks that got all this money? They got more than $13 million. But y'all didn't heard Warren Buffett and Bill Gates both say the same thing. We know they got more than $13 million cash, right? They both have said the same thing. When they leave this planet, they sending all their wealth over to a non-profit organization. Think about that for a second. They don't want to get taxed with that 40%. Well, that non-profit organization, most people are going to assume it's just their own non-profit organization. I hope y'all understand the IRS is way smarter than that, y'all. They'll hit you from the grave. They will hit you from the grave. They ain't sending it to their own nonprofit organization. Land in your trust is not cash. So when you leave this planet, your land ain't taxed. Now, some light bulbs should be going off for a lot of people right now, especially with the statement that I just said. Warren Buffett and Bill Gates said they're giving all their wealth to a nonprofit organization. If you can back down to that, you understand that that ain't what's really happening. You understand they buying land. Bill Gates owned 275,000 acres of farmland. Have you seen Warren Buffett portfolio of land? They traded their money in for land. Why? Because they know land is guaranteed to only go up in value and not go up and down. Plus, you make money when you buy land, not when you sell it. You get it? You can't go wrong. Now, there are gonna be things that you're gonna take your money that you have in your possession for your time and use it for that public use, maybe your land, maybe private use, maybe for some other land. You get it? So what you have to understand is patience. This stuff take time. Why does it take so much time? Because wealth is not money. Wealth is time. You get it? There's no other way around it. You can fake all the stuff you want to fake. Wealth is time. That's the trick. Imagine you working so hard right now to get money, to become wealthy, to take that money and trade it back for time. Just imagine that for a second. Because that's the process. There is no other way around that. You can try to come up with anything you want to come up with. As long as you're trading time for money, even if you become what people call rich, you just the richest poor person that someone knows. That's the truth. I had somebody over here tell me LeBron James is wealthy. No, he is gonna be there at some point. But as long as he's in the league, trading time for money, he got more money than everybody in here, right? The money's not yours. Just holding it for the next person. Because if he's wealthy, the person that write his check and everybody check that's on his team, what is he? If LeBron James is wealthy, what do you call the person that's not only writing his check, but all the players on the team check? All the actual coaches on his team check. All the staff, ball boys, whoever they are, the person that's writing all they checks, what do you call him? Think. He's wealthy too, but the math ain't mathing. Watch this. You want me to blow your mind even more? If LeBron James, you calling him wealthy. If the person that write LeBron James check is even more wealthy than him, I said calling the bank, that's funny. What do you call the people that are writing the checks for the owner of the team that's able to pay LeBron? What do you call those people? What do you call those people who pay the owner to write LeBron check? So LeBron James is wealthy, but as a person that's writing his check, and the person that's writing his check, y'all write his check. The people who come and pay to come and see LeBron is paying the owner a check so the owner can write LeBron a check. Think. This stuff is wild, y'all. Imagine how much power you got. Imagine you have the ability to make someone wealthy. Imagine you got the ability to make someone wealthy and you pick somebody else instead of yourself. Imagine you have the ability to make someone else wealthy and you pick somebody else other than yourself. That's the scary part about these conversations, y'all. And I think sometimes we lose sight on what really matters. That's for sure. Do I have proof of what I'm saying? Hmm, I don't know. I have no clue. I think, again, a lot of people are new here in the live, and I'm kind of reading the actual chat. And I think that being that people are new to my live, they assume that they know something that they don't have a clue. And that's okay. I'm with you 100%. The gift in all of this is I ain't trying to convince you. I ain't trying to convince you. I think whatever you believe, that's what you believe. But if you take half of a second and you've been on here long enough to hear what I've been saying, and just go do a little bit of research, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. And that's the part that becomes wild to me because when you figure it out and come back, you're like, oh yeah, that do make sense. Oh yeah, I did see this. Oh yeah, I do understand what you were saying about this. Thank y'all. This is the part where it becomes like, ah, what's up, family? How you feeling? This is the part that becomes crazy. Here's what I would ask you. Let me not ask that question because I don't want it to come off the wrong way. Let me say it this way. Imagine for a second. Today is Tuesday. A lot of people went to work today. A ton of people went to work today. If you went to work today, put a 5 in the chat. I want to see something. If you had to go clock in at your job, not hit the clock physically, but if you had to go to work this morning, you off work night right now, put a 5 in the chat. I just want to see something. Watch this. We can put it to the test. For those people that went to work today, I want you to put in the chat how much money you made for your job today. Not how much money you made personally, How much money did you make for your job today? You can do the math because you know it. How much money did you make for your job today? 10 grand. 100,000? Ooh, crazy. Now, how much you made personally? How much you made for your job? Because I'm asking. 125,000. 15 grand. 30 grand. $2,000. Think. Oh, you trolling. You want some attention. Pull a little tink tink. Here's what I want you to think about. The number that you just put in the chat on how much you all made for your job today, right? That's the point. Whatever it was, that's what you made for your job. Whatever number you put in the chat that you made for your job today, I'm looking at all 6 of these platforms. Imagine every day that's what you're making for your job, around about that number. For 10 days, you made that number. The lowest number I saw was $2,000. So in 10 days, you made your job 20 grand. In 10 days. On that 10th day, you're going to get paid. It's going to be a direct deposit off of that money that you made for your job. You're going to get a fraction of it back. Let's do some simple math, y'all. If I'm making $2,000 a day, 20 grand every 10 days, there's 26 pay periods in a year. If I take that 20 grand and multiply it by 26 pay periods, somebody do the math for me. How much money did you make for your job for the year? It's just a question. Anyone? Anyone can pull out their Palm Pilot and tell me what that number is? 52? What's that, $520,000 in a year? Let me ask you the question, boys and girls. Let me ask the question because I could be wrong. I could be off. The lowest number that I saw here was $2,000. I'm saying that's a day. 20,000 every 10 days. 520,000 a year. Do you make $520,000 a year yourself? Or do you make somewhere around about 50 grand a year? Or maybe 40? Anybody? I know when I was at Bank of America, I was generating for the bank $720 million a year. I made a couple hundred grand a year at the bank. I hope y'all understand what I just said. I made a couple hundred grand a year, and I was responsible for generating $720 million a year for the bank. Now, I had 459 employees directly and indirectly, $60 million a month, boys and girls. That ain't even the wild part about it. Forget that you only get a fraction of that money back on your 10th day of working at that job. You only get a fraction of what you gave them. Imagine you done generated 20 grand, 20 grand, and you turn around on that 10th business day, they deposit $1,300 in your checking account. And you got the checking account so you can get the free checking account because you got direct deposit. Now, y'all think I'm making this up. Just follow what I'm saying because I could be tripping. Even less than that. You ain't even getting 2 grand a month. but you making them $2,000 every single day. We ain't gonna talk about that because that might hurt some people's feelings. But let's just take it a step further. Imagine you think the bank is a holding facility. So that's where you storing all your money. Imagine that. Now, as a person that worked at Bank of America for 20 years as an executive without a college degree, I can tell you I was the same way for a long time. But I believe that when you know better, you do better. You done made 20 grand over 10 days. You done got a check deposit for $900 in your checking account on that 10 business day. And you leaving it in the bank because you think the bank is a holding facility. You think the bank is a holding facility. I understand it's a lending institution. And there are a ton of people out there just like me that understand the power of zero. This is wow. So when you get paid on Friday, we get paid on Friday. You got your money in the bank. You happy when that direct deposit hit. You can go out there and buy you some shrimp. Go get you some crab legs. Go get you a porterhouse. Go get you a little sippy sip. A little zaza. Whatever your choice is of poison. Because you got money in the bank. And the people that's out there like me that understand the power of zero, guess what we do? We go to the money, go to the bank, the money, the bank, and ask for your money, and the bank lend it to us. The bank give us your money. That's why when you go to the bank to ask for all your money, you can't get it all out. You have to order it because they gave it to us. Think about what I just said. They gave us your money. That ain't really the crazy part about this, y'all. Guess what we do with your money? We buy toilet paper. We buy bottled water. We buy paper plates, forks, napkins, spoons, pigs, chickens, cows, goats in bulk. And then turn right back around and sell it right back to you for 5 times what it's worth using your money. Don't believe it? What y'all had for dinner? The clothes on your back, where you think it came from? Uh-oh. When I went out about 3 acres of this, when I went out about 3 acres of this, social media kicked me off live. You're a vegetarian? Where you think those vegetables come from? Landowners. What do you think? What do you think your vegetables are being fertilized with? The same thing you don't eat. The antifreezer that go in your car. Where do you think it's coming from? The fat of a cow. The collagen, so you ain't got all them wrinkles. Where you think it's coming from? The organ of a cow. The soap you washing your with. Where you think it's coming from? The fat of a cow. Your soap vegan? It is. You got a cyber truck. You don't need antifreeze in your car because you got a cyber truck. The tires on your car is coming from the fat of a cow. Are your tires on your cyber truck vegan? Think. Everything is coming from the land, y'all. But you working hard. You about to lose your mind, going crazy, walking extremely hard to give it to people like me. That's why I don't have to get on here and sell you nothing. Ever. What's the significance of it? You can't go outside without no clothes on your back. The rugs in your house is made out of what? Stockings. People don't wear stockings no more, do they? They wear leggings. Okay. Can't say much about it because I don't want to get kicked. But it's a difference when you're going to buy a shirt like this, just going to buy one of them, or going to buy a pound of shirts. And you ain't even buying a pound of shirts. I can't say the rest because I don't want to get kicked. What type of info you talking about, family? Wholesale for what exactly? For land? You really don't need to do wholesale. Land is pretty cheap. Although they have land bank auctions pretty much in every state. I know here in Georgia, they got one in Columbus, they got one in North Georgia, they got one in Augusta, they got one in Macon, and I want to say there's another one in there. But a land bank auction is like a foreclosure auction, but for land, if that makes sense. So if you if you have a land bank auction near you somewhere, you should go there. I know in Georgia, when down to Macon, the land started at $3,000 an acre. I mean, $3,000 is the starting bid. It don't matter how many acres it is; it's irrelevant. But the gift about the land bank auction, people ain't never heard of them. So that means when you go, it don't be nobody there. Most of the time, you're bidding with yourself. And I know down the one in Macon, because that's the one I went to a couple of times, a good amount of times. When you buy the lot or you buy the land, you own it free and clear. I think if you Google land bank auctions near me, no matter what state you're in, you should have some stuff that'll come up. Or call down to the county where they do the foreclosures at, right? And say, hey, I heard this crazy, you on TikTok. I had this crazy dude on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube talking about something called a land bank auction. He said they got one down in Macon. It's called Land Bank Authorities. He said the starting bid is $3,000. And if you win the bid, you got to pay in cash that day. And the owner land free and clear. What was he talking about? Do we have something like that here in our state? They'll direct you to where it's at. You don't lack money. You just lack information. That's the truth. But most people will never be able to wrap their brain around it. Call down where they do the foreclosures at. Call down to the county. Call down to the county. And again, social media don't allow for me to talk in depth about a lot of different things because typically I get kicked when I start doing that. So I try to stay away from a lot of stuff. But these conversations are meaning to spark or provoke thought for you to go do the research. When you research the stuff, you're going to realize that this stuff that I'm giving you a glimpse of, it ain't even a tip on the iceberg. It really ain't. there's a bunch of stuff like that'll just open up once you start researching stuff. But you got to take these action. I can't do that for you, and I ain't gonna do it for you. Why? Because I ain't got to live with the results. You do. And there's gonna be a lot of people that come in and out my live and they'll say little things like, prove it. But the reality of it is, I'm at a place in my life, well, I don't prove this stuff no more. It don't make sense. I was doing wild stuff, y'all. Like when I closed the 41 and a half acres of land, cash, live, on TikTok. Like me going live and I didn't get a lot of traction at the livestock auction when I went to it. Me going live at the land bank auction. Me coming back on live and showing you the proof of funds letter for where the bank gave me your $500,000. I ain't have to come on here and show y'all no proof of funds letter. Me building out the 52 home subdivision down here in South Georgia, walking in and out of property number 29, talking to the contract, doing all type of wild stuff on live so y'all can see it. Me going live, buying vehicles cash through the business, showing you the public use of money. Me on this field and getting kicked off. Come on, y'all. I tried to go live on 100 acres of pecan trees that we planted. I can't make that up. I was live. You can go online and look at the toilet paper. I don't sell it to the consumer no more. I sell it to the government. Triumph Tissue, 3-ply toilet paper, 200 sheets is the closest thing you can get to wiping yourself with silk. But I ain't on here selling to y'all. I sell it to the government. When we cleared out those trees down there in South Georgia, we didn't give our trees away, pay them and get it away. We had it mixed because toilet paper's made out of mixed wood pulp and virgin wood pulp, boys and girls. Trees. You ain't getting this stuff in a book. This ain't stuff you didn't heard before, but I show y'all this stuff, and the reason why I show it to you, because I know people on social media just be talking. I know they be talking. Y'all saw us live, me and my family, employees in Los Cabos. Beautiful penthouse. Y'all saw me and my wife in Turks and Cakes. 2,200 square foot, 15 grand a night. I can't afford that. Future was right next door. We had a chef, a butler, a chauffeur, and security. Make this stuff make sense. In a couple of months, we doing something different. We gonna do something else different a couple months from now. And I'm gonna be live showing y'all that stuff too. I ain't telling y'all what that is. It's gonna be a surprise. We going somewhere else. Ooh, this business trip right here. I'm gonna tell y'all something. I've been waiting on this one. We going over there to conduct some real business, boys and girls, and I can't wait to go live when I get there to show you. Mm, mm. You can't make that stuff up. People like you in the green screen. What I do? I change location doing the live. You can't do this in a green screen or a blue screen. Think. That's what this stuff is about. In Louisiana, I can't find land banks, but you found an adjudicated auction. I think that's about the same, B West. I think you're about right. Um, Jason, what's up, family? If I'm thinking about the same, you got a very common name, Jason. I assume you are the Jason that moved back to, was it Alabama? I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Keep me honest, family. I can't be your mentor because I ain't no mentor to nobody. I just get on here and get it free information. But I believe you're the same person. And I'm happy you on here and you just said what you said. Mississippi where it was. All right, I ain't tripping. All right, cool. Shout out to you for tapping in with your boy, man. It's been a minute, family. Let me get you over here, man. It's been a minute, bro. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. Shout out to you for tapping in, man. For real, for real. But Yeah, still the same, family. Still the same. Hit me. Definitely hit me. But it's funny that you on here, Jay. Like this is I can't make this stuff up, y'all. When I say things, there are people that used to work with me and they gonna hold me accountable. It is what it is, y'all. But there are people that used to work with me at the bank. They gonna keep me honest, y'all. That's what's wild about what I'm saying. You trying to start a business? What type of business you trying to start, family? Let me dig into that with you. I think your name is Blue Flame. Your name Blue Flame? Okay. ATL in the building. ATL in the building. What type of business you trying to start, family? My ATLers know what I'm talking about. And some people that ain't from the ATL, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Uh, but yeah, what type of business you trying to start, family? Tell me what type of business you trying to start, because I'm about to get ready to wrap up. We're gonna talk about a process, but tell me what type of business you're trying to start. And if you don't know what type of business you're trying to start, tell me that too. I give you a little bit of direction. Producing and selling homes. Okay. Okay. Producing and selling homes. So I guess the first thing is, do you already have land already? If the answer is no, do you plan on buying properties that are already built and rehabbing them to sell? Or are you trying to build from the ground up? Like what exactly are you trying to do there? And then I kind of go from there. Pest control company. Shout out that car detailing. Okay. These are things that realistically y'all absolutely can do right away. Um, Trying to do both. Okay. So the first question would be, do you already have capital to do these things? Have you already got the first easy stuff out the way, like started a business, got you an LLC, or went and got you a corporation? Like, have you done the basic things to have your business in position and got the capital ready to go? Or is just right now all of it just a vision? You do I do my own work and no capital. I don't know. I don't know what that means. You do your own work and no capital. I don't know what that means. Um, Long story. Let's just say, to make this simple, you're on TikTok too, family. We have a contract with a different country. Let's just say that. I hope that makes sense. Also, you're a contractor. Okay. All right. So I'm assuming that you have enough capital at this point to purchase some land, and you have capital to start building. Or maybe you don't, and you're just a contractor trying to figure it out. Am I understanding? I don't know. Okay. Do you own your own business right now? Maybe that's the better question to ask, because these other little questions aren't really helpful. Do you own your own business today? That's the question. Uh, 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 uh. Maybe, maybe not. Shout out to that family. Yeah, residential and commercial properties. Yeah, I get that. Are you answering? Did they answer that? I missed it. Oh, okay, 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 okay. Okay. So you gotta start from the beginning. So the basic thing that you need to do is you need to come up with a business name, which is pretty should be pretty simple if you already don't have one in mind. Um, Look on the Secretary of State to make sure no one in your state shares that name that you have. You want to make it pretty unique, right? Um, I don't really like giving that advice, but I'm going to give it anyway. Your business name, it doesn't have to be whatever field that you're in. In fact, you want your business name to wind up being something that's realistically um, nobody really gonna be able to figure out what type of business you're doing. Then you can do some DBAs behind it, which realistically it won't matter because your business is gonna be the key, right? So let's just call your business 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 LLC. So you're gonna register your business with the Secretary of State. Depending on your state, will depend on how much it costs. I know here in Georgia, you probably can get registered with the Secretary of State for less than $100, versus in California, it's probably about $800. It's okay. It's the cost of doing business and a business expense. Keep that in mind. Once you've actually done that, what you want to do next is go over to the irs.gov. Hopefully you caught that. The irs.gov and go get you a free EIN number. You know, it's a tax ID number. You get it? Once you done went in, registered to be a Secretary of State, you went got your EIN number. Some other things that you might want to consider doing. You might want to consider going to GoDaddy.com and get you a domain. Now it's probably going to cost you for your domain, which is random, probably about $9 a year. Once you add all the extra stuff onto it, you might be spending about $40 a year for that domain. That'll give you ability to have a website with your business name. It'll also to give you the ability to have your business name as a .com, right? Instead of you having a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at gmail.com, if that makes sense. It'll be at your businessname.com, which makes you a little bit more professional, right? You may want to register your business with Google. It may cost you, a little bit of money. It don't cost that much. But register your business with Google. Once you register your business with Google, it's good. It makes that professional thing come all the way around, right? And those two things really at the gate are kind of optional, right? But I would say go ahead and do it because at some point you're going to need this stuff, right? But you're not in business yet once you've done these things I'm talking about, right? You're going to want to go and get you a business checking account. A business checking account. Whatever the requirement they require you to put in there, $50, $100, whatever it is, you're not officially in business until you get that business checking account. Period. You're officially in business at that point. There are other things that you're gonna want to do from a business credit perspective. Go get you what they call net 30 accounts. They're probably pretty easy to get. And what that basically means is if you use it, you got 30 days to pay it back. They got some net 14 accounts, net 60 accounts. They got all type of stuff. But you want to get those accounts because we want to start establishing some business credit. Hopefully that makes sense. It's going to automatically be up at Zabo103 on Instagram as soon as I pop off here in a little bit. What's up, family? Finally ready to purchase land, been researching but not sure where I live. You might not find it in Queens, family, because Queens is probably going to be expensive. You probably want to look about 30 minutes to 45 minutes outside of Queens, and you'll be able to find what you're looking for. So it'll be at Zabo103 on Instagram. You'll be able to catch it there. Let me just see something real quick. That charger, hopefully that charger in there. And we should be good with that charger. Shout out to that. All right. I just saw you popped up in here. Shout out to you for popping back in, family. Um Jason Taylor just popped up in here from the bank. I'm just saying that because he probably saw you up in here too. And I don't know if y'all follow each other. Y'all probably need to follow each other too. That'd be kind of cool. Um, if that's still prime, you might have to look a little bit further than that if that's still prime. 100%. Um, hopefully that help. Um, oh, I know, family. Trust me, I know. Um, uh, we just kind of walked away from it. It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. It was a good business trip, but it didn't make sense. Like it wasn't worth it. It was a good business trip though, because we learned some other stuff. We got a lot of research done while we were there. Made a lot of connections and stuff, but it was purchase land and put on the corporation. What would be the reason of you purchasing land and putting it up on the corporation? I'm just curious. What would be the reason of you purchasing land and putting it up on the corporation? I'm just curious. I don't understand that. Using 30 to 45 minutes. Yeah, so you might have to be an hour away. I don't know. It just depends. Or maybe you don't need to be nowhere near Houston. Maybe you don't need to be nowhere near Houston at all. Look at some of those other places. Because Texas got a lot of land. Equity borrow, business loans. Uh, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good move. Um, because think of it this way: the minute you borrow against your land, you no longer own it. The bank own it. You get it? And this is another thing you got to understand, right? 75% of the land is unoccupied. Yeah, but if you put a loan on your land, the bank own it. It's like your home, right? A lot of people out here telling you they homeowners, but they got a mortgage on their home. If you got a mortgage on your home, you just rent it from the bank until you own it. Until you have, till you the lien holder on it. If the bank has a mortgage on your property, you do not own it. You just borrowed it from the bank. So I don't, how can I put this? But if you conducting business on the land, then it's public land at that point, and you should have it in debt. 100%. I agree with that, but I don't know that I would get a corporation just to borrow money from and put. I don't know if I would get a corporation to put it the land in the corporation just to take a loan from the land. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand how that's gonna. Let me explain it this way, and maybe I'm bucking. So help me out, okay? If you buy some land that's right, say the $100,000, and pay $100,000 cash for the land. When you go borrow against the land, to your point, I think you said they give you what 75%. So they're gonna give you $75,000. How much are you getting for your land? Are you getting the same amount that you paid for it, or are you getting a percentage of that money that you borrowed it? And if you got the whole amount to buy the land, what's the point of borrowing the money? Like I don't understand what exactly. How can I say? What are you trying to borrow the money for? And whatever you're trying to borrow the money for, why not just go do it with the money instead of borrowing it from the bank? I don't know. And I understand people may have told you that. I don't know if that's going to work out the way you think. If you go and purchase the land, because you got to remember, you're going to a bank. If you go purchase, say the land worth $200,000 and you get it for $100,000. If you go to the bank after you done paid $100,000 for the land and tell the bank, they giving you a LTV of 75%. I'm just throwing a number out there. I don't know that to be true. And they giving you $150,000 because it's worth 200,000, and you paid 100 grand for it. They may do it, maybe, but I wouldn't bet my last dollar on it. I just wouldn't. If you got the money to buy the land right now, cash, without a loan, I don't know. I would say my question to you would be: have you went to the bank and asked them about the property itself yet? Just ask them. Hey, I want to look at doing a loan on this land. What y'all will give me as far as in a loan on this land? And just see what they say. I wouldn't take the words of just people if it's not a loan originator at the bank. Go to the bank. You can show them the property and just ask them and see what they say. Yeah, I know it's not from the bank. You say you want it in an auction, right? So the price that you paid for it, a sale is going to show up on public records on how much you paid for it, right? So when you purchase a property, a sale is going to show up on how much you paid for that property. The bank is going to have access to how much you paid for that property. They also going to look at the assessment value of that property from the tax assessor. So even though you got it at a discounted rate, the bank is not in business or taking major risks. They gonna try to understand what is it that you're trying to use the money for. You might say, I'm using the money to build some on this property, maybe a home, maybe this, maybe whatever. They're gonna try to figure out how they're gonna be able to get their money back because they're gonna look at your willingness to pay and your ability to pay. Your willingness to pay is going to be your personal credit or your business credit, whichever one that they decide to use or you go with, whichever one is stronger, I will hope, right? And then they're going to look at your ability to pay. They're going to look at how much money are you earning right now today to afford to pay back whatever amount they decide to give you. They also going to look at what your debt to income ratio is. Why are they going to look at that? Because this land at this point in this state is not producing income. They're going to have to make sure you're able to afford it. So when most people would say, hey, just go get this land, it's worth this much, they'll give you this. If you don't show that you have the ability to pay that money back out the gate because this land not producing money, they're not going to give you a dime. Now, I could be wrong. I was at the bank for 20 years as an exec without a college degree, but I wasn't a loan originator, not even close. So I ain't gonna act like I was. But these are just things that are gonna transpire. This is why I'm saying go down to the bank. You can show them the property. They ain't gonna come and buy it from you. I mean, they can't take it at this point. But you want to ask the questions, and they'll be able to give you a ballpark figure of what it is without them even running your credit and doing all this stuff. You can just ask the question. But they'll tell you flat out. And I'm almost certain the very first thing that loan originator gonna tell, or the personal bank or whoever you working with at the time, they're gonna say, how much do you make a year? You can ballpark figure. And if you know your credit score, what's your FICO? That's your middle score between all three scores. I got a 700 credit score and I make 100 grand a year. All right. Just with those numbers, if you're below a 35% debt to income ratio, we might be able to get you like 50 grand. If it's worth 200, because your debt to income might be out of whack. So you gotta ask those questions because I think I saw that somewhere on social media where somebody was saying that that's what they do, that's what they've done, and I'm thinking like, well, what if the land is not producing money in no way at this point? The bank gonna be reluctant to give you extra money. That's just what it is because the bank ain't loaning you money if you need it. The bank is only loaning you money if you don't need the money. I know that sounds crazy, but that's the truth. If you need money from the bank, they're not loaning it to you. They only loaning it to you if you don't need the money. It's backwards, but that's just how it works. Um, I would tell you, right? Any land that you get really is good land. And the reason why I say it's good land because it don't matter what type of land it is, you always can make money off of it. So let me give you another thought that you might want to think about, right? Depending on how much land it is, what type of land it is, you might be able to make some different decisions, right? Um, Land insurance. Um, yeah, I think so for the most part. If you want to cover yourself 100%. Um, let's say the land that you have right now that you bought at auction, I'm throwing a random number out. It's just me. There might be something to think about, right? Let's say you bought 10 acres of land in the auction that you got. Amazing. Let's say you pay, let's say the land is worth 100 grand. You might have to, somebody tell them to go out and come back in if you can't hear me. But let's say the land is worth 100 grand, right? But you paid 25,000 for it in an auction. Let's say it's 10 acres of land. I'm just throwing random numbers out. I don't know. I'm just throwing random numbers out. So that means if the land, you know, is worth 100 grand, you called a deal and paid 20 grand for it. Nothing stops you from going to get that land resurveyed, right? And instead of being one big old lot of 10 acres, you slice that bad boy up and make two different lots. Take that 10 acres and carve out 7 acres of that 10 acres, right? And then take that 3 acres, and then you got two different lots. You got a lot for 3 acres and you got a lot for 7 acres. I know this is an odd number, but just follow what I'm saying. You can take, once you bought that land, you then rent it, got it resurveyed to make two lots. You could take them 7 acres and turn right back around and put it on the market for $100,000. You only paid 20 grand for the full 20 acres. You put that 7 acres back on the market for $100,000. As soon as that property sells, not only do you have your 20 grand back, you also have an additional 80 grand on top of it, and you still got the 3 acres. What does that mean? Technically, they paid you $80,000 to take their 3 acres. You can do that over and over again until you get to a point to have enough capital that you need to have to do whatever you need to do instead of trying to go to the bank and hope they give you a loan. You get it? Probably. I don't know. I don't know what Texas is for that. You have to kind of look it up. What you could do in Texas, if that is the case, go get you a real estate attorney and go through the process of getting that land rezoned. If that's what you're trying to do. So hopefully it helps. Shout out to that guy. But there's a ton of things you can do, y'all. It really just boiled back down to you thinking. A lot of this stuff, it just yeah. I mean, you got to pay an attorney, and it'll cost. It ain't that much, but it will cost. It is a fee to get it done. Because these people, they want money to reprocess this stuff. It's all money. They want their money. It ain't yours anyway. Give it away. Yeah, you want to have it. You definitely have it appraised. Um, you don't have to have it appraised if you don't want to. Um, you can get a good idea what the land costs for the most part. You never giving them what they asking for anyway. You always gonna drop it to see what you can get from it. You always want to get the land surveyed. Oh no, I know it's a lot, family. This is the reason why when I come on live, if you all haven't figured it out yet, I will repeat, I will repeat the same things over and over again because every time I'm live, something different gonna click. Um, no, 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 no. If you are taking, let me say it this way: if you're taking money out of your home to start conducting business, right? It's not a bad decision per se, but you got to remember you're starting your mortgage over. And unless you're doing an equity line of credit or something, right? But you got a higher payment, right? My way of thinking is when you're doing something, I'm the firm believer, use your money you got from your job to do what you need to do. Put your money into your insurance policy so you get enough to continue doing what you have to do. But if you got equity in your property and you're gonna take the equity, whether it's a home equity line of credit or you refine it, whatever it is, how you getting the money. I'm hoping there's a home equity line of credit. But however you're taking the money for the most part, my belief is you probably should be taking it should be enough money to where it can put you into another property and you can rent that property out and let somebody else pay that new mortgage. What does that mean? You want to have enough land to build you a property. You might say, man, I got me 2 acres that I caught bag cheap, man. I paid 10 grand for them 2 acres, right? Nice location. It's not near the city at all. It's a good ways out, but it's not too far out in the sticks, man. I would love to live out there, right? Got me 2 acres of land. Man, I got me $500,000 worth of equity in my house. I'm being, I'm just throwing some stuff out there, y'all. I got $500,000 equity in my house. Man, I can get basically in this environment, man, I, I can I can get $480,000 out of this property. I'm gonna take that whole $480,000 out of this property, and then I'm gonna go and take out that $480,000 out of this property. I'm gonna take 300 grand, and I'm gonna build my dream house for me and my little family with this 300 grand. It ain't no massive property that you building, but you building something that's gonna be free and clear. Watch this. You still got 180,000 back. What's that 180,000 for? To pay this new mortgage while you wait on your property to be built. Once your property is finished being built, hopefully you can get that sucker built in about 4 5 months because the reality of it is you already got a stock design that you get and you ain't got to go through all this architect stuff and all this other stuff. You're taking a stock property stock home that you didn't bought offline. You got a builder that's realistically ready to go, and this builder ain't gonna take them but like 4 months to build this property. You paying your new mortgage 4 months out of that 180 grand. As soon as that's up, you moving into your new property where you ain't got no mortgage because you own it free and clear. You might pay another 6 months until you get a tenant in this property. But once you get that tenant in this property, whatever's left from that 180 grand after you paying that old mortgage, that's back in your pocket to kind of do the other things that you want to do in life. Invest, whatever, but that new mortgage is being paid by that tenant. Now you ain't got no mortgage. You get it? That's my thought process when it comes to that. But if you take your money out to invest in the business, as long as it's gonna make you money, have at it. But now you got a higher payment. Get it? So hopefully that's helpful, y'all. But look, y'all, I've been on here for like 3 hours. Jeez Louise, I gotta get this a break. I'm gonna get up off here. I like being down in my little man cave. Might call the wife down and we'll catch a movie tonight. Seemed like the right thing to do. So I'm gonna get up off here. So let me say this, y'all. Let me say this. Nah, that's milk, man. Milk bad for you. I like milk though. So check this out, y'all. If you are excited and motivated about what you heard tonight, pump your brakes. Go do some research, y'all. Do yourself a favor and go research this stuff I'm talking about, y'all. Please. I know ain't nobody on social media gonna tell you to research nothing. They just want you to click the link in the bio and buy something. Go do your research, y'all. Because the gift about you getting free information, it is free. But you have to live with the results based off of the decisions that you make. Go do your research. It doesn't matter who telling you what. Go do your research. If you find truth in what you heard tonight, apply it in your life. I promise you, your future self will thank you. In the meantime, look, y'all be good. I have fun being bad, and I'll see y'all on the other side of the sun. Peace.